goes the Talk, Thrilling Talk, still kicking now is Trojan Horse to the wire. Trojan Horse. Dinah Wearsland's opened up big time. The corner is raced right away. Dusty Gambler out of the pack, but to the wire we go. Dinah Wearsland, Dusty Gambler. Keysale down on the inside, starting to run there now is Big Time Mia, but Keysale starts to lengthen out from Big Time Mia.
Hello everybody, good evening and welcome into DogZone as we look back to last Thursday and a massive night's racing there. Of course, the feature being the Mike Steen Decorators New Zealand Derby, as well as the Lois Henley Memorial and the Teresa McDonald Memorial. After that, we'll look forward to this Thursday and the running of the New Zealand Oaks, which is going to be outstanding. Rozzo's still away on his holiday, so joining us on the show once again is Phillipa Morris. And Pip, Thursday was an absolute boomer of a race night with an upset in the Derby at 30 to 1.
Yeah, huge upset, Andy, but it was a great night to be on course. The crowd was fantastic, actually, and great to be involved with. And, of course, the undercard too, which we'll touch on a little bit later, with the Dinah Wearsland taking out the Teresa McDonald. And, yeah, what a fantastic night of racing, and it was a pleasure to be on course and really looking forward to this Thursday.
The feature on the card on Thursday was the Mike Steen Decorators New Zealand Derby. We'll take you back to have a look at it. We're looking for the dog in the green rug of box number 6. His name, Trojan Horse.
Speed there is Trojan Horse, does find the lead here now from Diddy Lee. Whipping the outside there is Thrilling Talk. Further back in transit, there we go to Robson. Works the rail, there's no gap there for him. Gets shuffled towards the tail. Once fallen there, Thrilling Vice. Off the top they come, it's rough. Trojan Horse in front. Here comes Thrilling Talk, the outside, and Robson might be too far away. Underneath goes the Talk. Thrilling Talk still kicking now is Trojan Horse to the wire. Trojan Horse. Then we go the way here of Thrilling Talk and Robson. Gee, it was a finish. Further back there we go to Big Time Rob. That's been followed home here now by Mr. Battling.
That was Trojan Horse fighting hard to get victory over a game. Thrilling Talk and Robson, who was probably one of two very unlucky runners in it. Pip, firstly on the winner, Trojan Horse, 30 to 1. As I said, I don't think anyone saw this coming, and he did what he had to do. He got the lead early on, and he was too tough in the run to the judge.
No, I have to agree, Andy. Certainly didn't see it coming, but you have to say that, you know, Thrilling Talk did pass him up the straight, so for him to come back and still win the race, I thought was quite good from Trojan Horse. He usually can be a slight bit weaker. As you said about Robson, well, he hit the rail, didn't he? So for him to still finish third, that was a huge run. And you can't discount Thrilling Talk either. If you actually watch the head-on, he got a bit of a check too. He was trying to come down to the rail. He got cross. So for him to get so close to Trojan Horse, which you'd say, Andy, very rough run derby, was a pretty good feat.
Certainly was a rough. I think Talk was about $1.05 halfway up the straight, but he wasn't able to get his nose down where it counted. There's Robson charging home late in the piece to get home for third. And Pip, another unlucky runner in there I thought was Diddy Lee. I thought off the boxes he would be pretty tough to beat, but Trojan Horse crossing him into the turn as well, and things went from bad to worse for him around the turn.
Yes, it was certainly a race that you had to watch the head-on. Diddley was running straight into it, wasn't he? And then just with Robson hitting the rail, he kind of moved off, which caused Diddley to get a check as well, and he went back through the field. So, yeah, certainly a few unlucky stories this year out of the Derby, but take nothing away from Trojan Horse, Andy. Certainly just kept on trucking and too good out of the boxes.
Yeah, he certainly was too good. Box speed is golden greyhound racing, as the saying goes, and that certainly won this year's edition of the Derby. Also on Thursday evening, we had the running of the Teresa McDonald Memorial. This one was taken out by Dinah Wearsland. She's in the white rug of box number 3. Gee, she's a class day of this, Pip, and it's great to see her back at her best.
Oh, she's certainly back to her best. Once she got to the front here, it never looked like getting beaten, Andy. Have to say, some really eye-catching runs in behind her as well from the likes of Dusty Gambler. You can see how far back he is, and he runs into second, so it'll be good to see him continue over the 700 metres, only his second run back. And what about COBRA Taylor? Gosh, I thought she was eye-catching.
Certainly was, and really good in aims of the silver collar, of course, with Rip and Sam and Ebby Ripper added into the mix as well. Pip, what did you make out of Avenger Bale and Dinah Dave? Dinah Dave fourth, Avenger Bale fading late into sixth.
Yeah, I have to say Avenger Bale disappointing again, just like his heat run. He was up there early, and he's better than that, Andy. Certainly fading out and maybe just you know, the run prior, the week before, taking a bit out of him, maybe. But I think Dinah Dave, certainly that was a good run. Only second time over the 700 metres, a little bit more on the pace. And it was two very strong dogs that passed him, Andy. So speaking to Craig on the actual night, he thinks that Dinah Dave might be one of his best stayers to come. So maybe don't discount him just yet.
He is a class act, there's no doubt about that. There's a result on screen. Philippa, you were on course on Thursday as well. Also, we got to see Ebby Ripper go around. It was probably a little bit short for her. And we didn't see the best of her. She hasn't been in the country long. Another one who will improve and heading towards the silver collar. She certainly adds a little bit of spice to that as well.
She does. I think you said it there though, Andy. Too short for her. Just kind of looked like she was almost a little bit lost too. And sometimes they can be, I think, first look at a track. She'd only been in the country about a week. So don't discount that. I definitely think keep on watching her over the 700 metres because even though she was kind of floating a little bit, she certainly still made up some ground.
Also on Thursday evening, we had the running of the Lois Henley Memorial, and this was taken out in nice fashion by Keysile. We saw a repeat Quinella from the heats with Big Time Mia getting into second ahead of Big Time Lily. Pip, she's only had 2 goes in the country so far, Keysile, as well as her really impressive requalifying trial win, and so far she has been faultless.
Hasn't she just? I think Peter Ferguson's got a really nice dog here once again, and she just did pretty much what she did in the heat, didn't she, Andy? Straight away from the boxes, and they run the Quinella, her and Big Time Mia, another consistent run from her in behind. And a couple of unlucky runners there, Thrilling Carly and Thrilling Joe, both taking each other out from the Karen Walsh team. But yeah, take nothing away from the winner there with a happy Peter Ferguson and team.
It was good to see him get a bit of luck as well. Obviously, this race was before the Derby, Pip, but with what happened to Robson in the Derby, good to see Team Ferg get another feature win in the bag.
Certainly is, and Minnie hasn't been in greyhounds that long. Of course, we all know him more for the harness, but it's fantastic to see him getting some really good dogs. And Robson really unlucky, Andy. You'd have to think, you know, coming up with some more features, New Zealand Cup soon. It won't be time. It'll be time for that, and maybe Robson. He still hit the line really well. Could be a good contender for that.
He certainly is a chance the way he's racing. There's no doubt about that. We're going to stay in the north. We're going to head to Auckland now, though, and Saturday. This is the running of the Easter Cup and taken out in phenomenal fashion by Penny Mac. You're looking for the dog in the yellow rug here, or the gold rug of box number 5. He gets to the early lead here. He absolutely brains his rivals by 12 3/4 lengths. Pippini becomes the 3rd dog ever to break to break the 32nd barrier over the 527-metre journey.
Yeah, speaking of New Zealand Cup, Steve Clark has got this dog right back to his best. Would actually probably say almost better than when he won the Waterloo Cup, Andy. And yeah, that was a phenomenal run. The dogs in behind look like slugs, and they certainly aren't. So if he can continue on in this form, Penny Mac, he'll be a force to reckon with in the upcoming features.
He certainly will. An improved effort getting into second, racing in good form as well as Tiamo. We haven't got a replay of it, but also on the same day we had Buddy Boom go around out of the UD Cottam team, and although his overall time was fair, he's got some pace. He was able to clock the exact same split to the back mark as Penny Mac, Pip, so that would put him 10 lengths in front of the Easter Cup field, and although he got weak late, he's certainly an exciting youngster.
Isn't he? I think your viewer, Jared and Nessie, you'd be very happy to have him in your kennel, and he's racing around Cambridge Thursday, box 1 in the Class 1 heat, so definitely look out for him to continue on his winning way.
Time now to head to Australia, the running of the Golden Easter Egg, and I don't think you'll find a Group 1 in more impressive style than this. We're looking for Zipping Bailey, the dog in the green rug. Yep, that's right, the dog in the green rug, back 3 lengths last with a lap to go. Philippa, this is nothing short of enormous.
Oh, you're right, Andy, and I just love to watch dogs do this, come from behind. You know, we do see a lot of dogs jump out in front and win these races, but for him to be so slow away, whip around the field and get very good dog that's in front. That dog in front is, you know, nothing short of phenomenal itself, and look at that, what a win. And Jason Mackay had been 3rd in the Easter, previously behind Brett Lee, none other, so he was a very emotional, of course, taking out the Golden Easter Egg.
Yeah, that was a massive run. I don't think you'll ever see another Group 1 in that sort of fashion. To come from that far last with a lap to go and get the job done, it's just enormous, and you do not see Group 1s won in that kind of fashion. Talking about Group 1s, it's time now to look forward to Thursday evening and the running of the Group 1, the Fitz Sports Bar New Zealand Oaks. This one will be run at Addington Raceway. It's race number 10 on the card, due to get underway at 8:46, and a really nice field that has been assembled for it. Pip, the favourites come up here, OPAWA Hop and Ophelia Allen, and the way they won their heats, they look really hard to beat, especially with the scratching of Von Strass, who did things a little bit wrong up the straight in her heat.
Yes, they do, Andy. I probably would have liked Ophelia Allen to draw more inside. I think maybe OPAWA Hop's got the advantage there. But yes, they do look the two to beat. However, in saying that, I've gone with someone different on top, but we'll get more into that later on. But yeah, they do look the two at this stage in the market anyway, how the field kind of plays out.
Time now to go runner by runner through the 8 finalists for the Group 1, the Fitz Sports Bar New Zealand Oaks, and we will start off with one of 4 runners for the Jean and Dave Fahey team. We're speaking, of course, of Go Glow. Comes up with box number 1, had the 7 in her heat. She was able to finish into second and behind Ophelia Allen. She comes up with box 1, where she's had 4 starts for 3 wins. And Philippa, outside of the 2 we mentioned, this girl is another one with a winning chance.
She certainly is, Andy. I've actually put her on top. I think the box brings her right into it. 4 starts from there, 3 wins. She does show a little bit of early pace. She clocked a 6:02 to the first mark, and even her midsection was okay, 12:05. So I think if she can kind of hop out and lead this race, she'll be hard to come past. She hasn't got the fastest personal best time, 30:24, but I still think if she can run up to that, and she's still probably got something better in the can.
Comes up with box number 1, and on the back of some really awkward draws for her, that'll certainly aid her chances. Philippa, can she stay under the likes of OPAWA Hop and Ophelia Allen into the first turn?
I believe she can. I think OPAWA Hop, even in the heat of your watch, wasn't actually sensational out. Ophelia Allen does have some early pace, but for me, she still needs to try and cross from out in box number 7. So that's why I think maybe Go Glow can show up, and yeah, I think she can hold them out to the first bend. And if she does, I think she'll be hard to beat.
Hasn't had box 1 since the 26th of February, has Go Glow, where she was a winner of a New Zealand Racing Series heat that was down at Dunedin. Sorry, that was the running of the final where she was victorious in that. So box 1 certainly where she wants to be, and that puts her right into calculations. Box 2 for the second of the Jean and Dave Fahey runners is OPAWA Hop. She was a really nice winner of her heat in 30 and 38. Pip, that was her first start for the Fahey team. She bumbled the start a little bit, which we'll see in a moment. The dog off the inside box number 1. She's capable of much faster opening splits than that. If she gets on the lure, she can clock a 30:04, which she's done in the past, and gee, that has got to see her hard to beat.
Yeah, she certainly does, OPAWA Hop. Like you said, though, in the heat, she just kind of fumbled a bit, and you hope she doesn't do that in the final. Coming into box number 2 suits her as well, and like you said, she does own a very fast personal best, so she will be hard to beat. A little bit slower in the heat in that overall time of 30:38. But yeah, you can't discount her, can you, for the Jean and Dave Fahey team.
So this is her off box number 1, getting through to the lead now. Now, Von Strass, who runs second, is a scratching because she got put out for being a little bit naughty up the home straight, and we'll see that in a moment. She just has a bit of a bo peep at OPAWA Hop. But, gee, Hop had to be brave here, Pip. She got on heels into the first turn, which certainly didn't help the overall time. And if she can pick the jump, she's capable of much faster.
Yeah, she is. I've probably left her out to my detriment. I just thought maybe that Go Glow could lead her up and she could probably be faster. The only thing that put me off her was just how she slightly missed the kick, and I wouldn't want her to do that again and find a little bit of trouble with some outside dogs. But if she hops away, Andy, she's definitely the dog that's going to be the hardest to beat.
Box 3 for the third of the Jean and Dave Fahey runners. This one is Gem. She is the opposite of the inside 2. She won't be in the early hunt at all. She's fairly slow away is Gem. She does have a turn of foot on the run home though, but in saying that, her run home time in the heats 12:34 wasn't any better than half the field, and dogs like Ophelia Allen getting home faster than her, as well as OPAWA Hop and Go Glow. So we'll take you back to have a look at her heat. Again, we're looking for the dog off the inside rug, box number 1 in the red, and Pip, I know she gets the job done here, 30 and 63, so she's one of the slowest qualifiers for the final, and to be fair, gee, she got a lot of luck on the home turn.
She did, and I think what's going to let her down in the final, Andy, there's a couple of other dogs that are just faster early, and because she continues to be slow away from the boxes, she comes up with box 3. I think she's going to need a lot of luck, what she got here this time, but in the final, I just can't see her getting it, and she didn't run the best time either, 30.63. She did have an okay run home time, but in saying that, I think she needs to lift to be into the final.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you on that. The fourth of the Jean and Dave Fahey runners is Busy Flash. Comes up with box number 4 for the final. She was a winner of her heat in 30 and 56. That was off box number 2. Her PB here of 30 and 41 would suggest that she may just need to lift a notch or two against a couple here that may just beat her to the first split as well. But we'll take you back to her heat. Again, we're looking for the dog in the black and white striped rug of box number 2. She was away well. She was able to run through, grab the lead, and around the first turn here, as you'll see, there's a little bit of trouble. Comes up with box number 4 in the final, Pip, and again, there's probably one or two here a little bit quicker than her early, which won't make things easy off that squeeze draw.
No, it won't. She's definitely another that's running for luck, and she probably did get a little bit of luck in this with the fact that, of course, Big League Diva run off a little bit on that home corner, giving her the rails run, and she got away, and she didn't really run a lot of time for a dog that didn't get much trouble in the race, Andy, so I agree with you totally. She needs to lift to be in this final, and I can't see it off that squeeze draw.
Gee, the second dog there was Big League Diva. I thought she would have been the big improver out of it, and Pip, what a big shame for Connections that she's had to be scratched. I think she's come into season, which is really bad timing on her part.
Isn't it just? I actually was going to put her in the mix, Andy, because, yeah, I think that she would improve off that run. Having a first look there at the track, she did move off a little bit, and I thought the outside alley would have suited her, but hopefully, maybe with their reserve dog that gets it, they could turn their form around.
Certainly could. We're going to move on now to rug number 5, Bahama Queen. This one for the Jason Dunn team, and I know she was only second in her heat in behind Gem, but gee, Pip, she's a dog with real speed, this girl. I don't think we can read anything into her winning time over the 520 metre journey, nor can we read anything into her time in her heat, because to be honest, I think she just started floating across the top when she hit the lead.
Yes, I have to agree, Andy. She was a kind of, do I put her in, do I put her out, kind of question mark for me. She does own some early pace, a 5.98 in her heat. Her middle section's good, 12.10. It's just that last section, like you said, but sometimes it's more in the head. I could certainly see her being in the mix off the boxes early. Whether or not she can get across, though, that's the question mark for me, and I did end up leaving her out just because of that.
She's got some really nice winning times over the 295 metre journey as well, Bahama Queen. So she's a fast greyhound, and she has been put out a couple of times for not concentrating on her job at hand. But I think if she gets in behind the right dog, Ophelia Allen or even OPAWA Hop or Go Glow, I think she'll chase them all day long, and I can see her filling a minor spot in this final, Bahama Queen. Of course, with the scratching of Von Strass, No Shame will come into box number 6, and she's a greyhound with real talent on her day. Gee, she's been disappointing for a wee while, to be fair, but her last couple have been more like it. She was third in her heat to Ophelia Allen. 30 and 39 was her time clock. She's got a nice little mid-split Phillipa, and the wide draw is right up her alley, there's no doubt about that. She's clocked a 30.04 here in the past, and if the right No Shame turned up, gee, it'd be no surprise to see her get into it either.
Now, I have to agree, that personal best time, 30.04, certainly says that she's good enough to take it out. This draw probably suits her. The only thing with her, she does tend to want to head out, and so hopefully she doesn't run into Ophelia Allen early, who's probably wanting to become across, and she'll be wanting to go out, and she does have a little bit of early pace too. So she's definitely a question mark dog for me, and she is a dog that probably could blow the whole lot out, Andy, if she was right.
Yeah, no doubt about that. She's definitely a greyhound with ability. Her last win came in a New Zealand Racing Series heat at Fordbury Park, where she beat home Shift the Blame. So she's certainly got the ability. Her PB here of 30.04, that came on New Zealand Cup night when she beat a really handy little restricted age field, and there's no doubting her ability, and that wide draw is certainly right up her alley. Box number 7, Ophelia Allen for Dan Roberts, comes up with an awkward draw for her. She's had one go off the 7 in the past, has placed on that occasion, but we'll take you back to have a look at her heat run. She had the black and white stripes on here, box number 2. 5.94, 12.03 that mid-split, so 17.97 to the back. Home in 12.12 for 30.09. Comfortably the fastest qualifier for this final. And Phillipa, if she can get clear air to the first turn, as you said, she does need to get across no shame, which is the question mark. And here's shame here off the 8 running wide, as you can see. So that's the big question mark. If she can do that, she has strength on her side as well as speed. And gee, she's a big contender for the winning title.
She certainly is. She clocked that 5.94 early, which was actually the fastest run home of all the dogs, the early section of all the dogs that are in the heats. And if you actually watch the top bend, she actually gets a slight check and kind of drag down. So for her to clock that time shows the dog's got immense pace. I just think with her, it's the draw that's against her. She really does need a bit of luck, or she needs to show a bit more of that early pace that she was showing. She's just been jumping slightly slower actually off the boxes, Andy, before she lets down and shows obviously that pace. So you'd want her to try and maybe show that early pace and get along and to win this, I think, to clear the 6, but I couldn't leave her out.
In terms of her early pace, we have seen her clock some low 5.80s early when she clocked a 30 and 10. And just hearing from Dan yesterday, he reported that she did still just cramp up a little bit in that heat. So he's expecting a little bit more improvement from her. Of course, she is third up from a bit of a let up that he did give her, freshening her up for this Group 1 feature. So, gee, if she can show that early speed and with that strength she has, if she can get across no shame, she's a big chance here for mine. With the scratching of the 8 Big League Diva, that lets in the 10 dog in GAZZA'S Girl again. There's no doubting this wee girl's ability. She's a very fast animal when she can get things right. She does have a habit of starting to float across the top at times, but she was able to run home in 12.30. Pip, she comes up with box 8, which will suit her down to the ground. And her qualifying effort was okay, although in the slowest heat, and she's one who could be minding her own business out wide and might just get a bit of luck into the turn.
Yeah, so I stuck her in for 4th just for the fact that even though her box 8 stats aren't great, 3 times 4 nothing, I think it will suit her. If you watch her in the heat, she's so slow away. I think she can probably walk out like she does. If there is a little bit of trouble, I can see her swooping around and maybe running in to 3rd or 4th because she has got a lot of pace and she will just keep on trucking, and she does seem to be a lot stronger at the end, Andy. So I actually put her in there for 4th. I just think the box will suit her down to a T.
She's clocked a 30.44 here in the past at Addington Raceway, and she has had a couple of indiscretions in her career. One time she requalified at Addington in a 17 and 32, so she does have speed, there's no doubt about that. Second to Blazin Audrey in a requali, beat in the nose in 17.41 at Wanganui. So no doubting she's got speed when she puts her mind on the job. And of course, Phillipa, she was a really nice, of course the trial didn't count because she went out of the wrong box, but the time she clocked at Manawa 2 says she's more than capable in this as well.
Yeah, that's right, Andy. She actually can really run time if she's got her mind on the job, and that's the key. There's a couple of dogs in this that do tend to float, and I'm hoping that maybe she will have her mind on the job. Back down there second time off box 8. Can't see her winning. I think she's just too slow early, but she could probably be running into it.
Yeah, time to put 4 numbers on a bit of paper now, Pip, and tip the audience at home into a winner in the Group 1 Fitz Sports Bar, New Zealand Oaks. Who are you going in the feature?
I've gone a little bit different. Still had to go with Jean and Dave Fahey. I think they are a force to be reckoned with in this field, and I've gone with the 1 Go Glow. I just think the box brings her right into contention. Couldn't leave out Ophelia Allen off the 7. I think that's the only thing that's detrimental is the box. And then I've gone with OPAWA Hop, the 2. Couldn't leave her out. And then, of course, the 10 there, GAZZA'S Girl in for 4th.
In terms of my selections, I've gone with the 2 OPAWA Hop on top. I think the box draw puts her right into winning contention. The 7 Ophelia Allen, I don't think we can leave her out. She's a very speedy little customer. As long as she can get a little bit of luck into the turn, she's a definite chance. The 1 Go Glow, agree with her being drawn up beautifully well, and I think she's another winning chance in this. And in behind them, gee, I reckon Bahama Queen can run a place, and she should be at good odds as well. She's certainly one to boost your trifecta and first 4 dividends on the night. In terms of Thursday evening, another really nice feature that has been assembled will be race number 11 on the card. This is the Flair Sprint. We did have heats for this last week, and we have some really nice dogs going around here in the form of Rocket Raccoon and Randy Raccoon. Pip, Randy Raccoon, a dog who's made his way through to the open grade really fast, but he certainly stamped himself as capable at that level last week.
Yeah, he certainly has, Andy, and he looks like a really nice up-and-coming dog for, of course, Callum Ware, and they have the brother as well, so you can't discount him in the field. And there's a couple of others as well. Platinum Marshall's always a dog that can run in and out for Craig Roberts, and of course Shitinatin too. Not the worst run either in there, but yeah, I think it's Callum Ware's race, maybe.
Yeah, the one dog draws up well as well, Edge of Town. He's one of those funny dogs, Pip. You think he'd have a really nice box one record, but he doesn't. It's horrendous on paper, but he draws to get a nice little run, and he was a pretty impressive winner of his heat as well.
Yeah, it's definitely right about the horrendous box stats from 1, 5 for nothing, but I think you're right. You know, if the dog gets into the right run, box number 2, whose business ethics isn't that fast early, so it is another dog that you can't discount. And I think there's a couple of winners out of that field. There's nothing that says, yes, this is the dog you've got to back.
Also a nice little 600 metre event on the card there as well. That'll be race 7 on the card at 7:31. We get to see Avenger BALE take on It's a Trick in that, so that'll be a really, really nice little distance race to tune in for as well. Well, in terms of punting, last week's dogs to follow, here's how we ended up with things. Of course, Rozzo, he's having a stress and selection-free holidays. He's basically just dropped the ball and let the team down, but hey, we'll let him away with it because he's the great man. But I had 4 bets, one win, a couple of placings, Blazing Carter getting the job done, and yeah, one of those placings, Gold Star Avalon, who went down a half length at around $9 or $10, so that was a little bit gutting. Philippa, you had 3 bets, 1 win, 1 placing. Isn't she sassy, getting home at 180? And talking about her, gee, she's a real talent and she's got a bright future here in NZ.
She certainly does. I was talking to Peter Henley actually on Thursday and just missed the Oaks nominations for the heats by about 10 minutes, so he was very gutted, but obviously thinks the dog has a lot of potential if he was going to take her down there, so keep on watching. Isn't she sassy? I think she'll keep climbing the grades. Speaking of my bets this week though, Andy, I'm just going to cut you off. I have gone for at Addington on Thursday. Turn the tables, I should say. I'm starting at Cambridge. A Fancy Fox, I think she can beat Sparta this time. He can beat Sparta this time in box number 2. Each way at Addington, the 2 Smash Damage at Addington on a Thursday. I think maybe just finds a little bit easier field this time. Bonus run for the 4 CAWBOURNE Briddy. He did win yesterday and he gets another bonus run there at Addington in the last. And back in trip, CAWBOURNE Liz, she comes up with box 4 at Hattrick Raceway on Friday. So I do like box 4 once again, but I've got a couple of others in there, Andy.
Yeah, just back to isn't she sassy, Pip? It's a real shame she missed coming down for the New Zealand Oaks because she would have been a real contender with the time she's running. And gee, it's just one of those things where it just doesn't make sense to me that all these tracks in New Zealand have their noms closing at different times. Surely it makes sense to close them all at the same time so everybody knows where they stand no matter where they're travelling.
I have to agree, Andy. I think some of the times too, it's a bit unreasonable. I think a couple of close at maybe at 10 o'clock, and when you're a greyhound trainer and you're out doing your dogs and stuff, it can be quite difficult to get in there and make sure you know all your dogs are right. That's what you want to nominate. So I totally agree with you there, and it's a real shame that she didn't get down there to take out, you know, maybe see how she could have gone, because it would have added a bit of interest, especially from the north.
In terms of my dogs to follow for the next week, here's a look at them. We've selected 3. Of course, with Easter, there's some late fields being drawn, so we didn't have as many meetings to choose from this week. Buddy Loaded comes up with a nice draw on Thursday at Cambridge, box 2. I prefer him a little bit wider on the track usually, but there's not a lot of speed in that race, and I think he can muscle through and grab the early lead, and from there be pretty hard to beat. Gee, if you want to see an unlucky greyhound, go back and have a look at Hankenstein's last start. That was in behind Rocket Raccoon. He had the 8 on that occasion as well. He was circling around about to put them all to bed before he got checked, so he comes up with the same draw on Thursday night at Addington. I think he's pretty hard to beat, and gee, the Ashley Bradshaw team's running hot at the moment. Then we've got the Derby drop back, a big time Rod. He was 4th in the final. He comes up with box number 3 in race 6 on a Friday evening, and back to Wanganui where he's clocked a sub 32nd. I think he will get the job done there. Well, that's all we've got time for here on DogZone. We'll head back to Pip. Thank you very much for joining us again today, Pip. It's been a pleasure having you on the show the last couple of weeks, and Thursday night at Addington will be a ripper of a night.
Yeah, thanks very much, Andy. It's been a pleasure to be here as always, and really looking forward to your coverage there out of Addington on a Thursday.
I'll be there on Thursday night. The feature is race number 10 on the card, the Fitz Sports Bar New Zealand Oaks. It's set to get underway at 8:46. I'll be on course to take you through all of the action alongside Trevor Wilkes, who'll be calling the feature there on the night. We'll be back next week with a review of the New Zealand Oaks and preview of the week to come. But until then, happy punting.